السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أبا أيمن هاوي أبا عامر هاي.
الحمد لله.
Hi, cool.
الحمد لله. الحمد لله.
طيب, can we go on today?
نعم شيخ. نعم.
طيب, إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. Today, bismillah, we will continue with another chapter regarding how we handle the dealings between ourselves and our brothers. Yesterday, we were on the chapter Babu Islahi Zatil Bayn, the chapter about reconciling the connections, the ties between ourselves and the rest of us. We explained that that kalima, that word al-bay, it could be referring to good dealings. It may also be referring to al-mukhasamatu wal-muhajara. It could be referring to mutual quarrel and mutual distancing from one another. So if you say Islahu Zatil Bay and you take the first meaning, it means you maintain a relationship that's already good. If you take the second meaning, it means you rectify a relationship that is bad. So if you say Islahu Zatil Bay, the two things are involved: maintaining good relationship and rectifying a bad one. The last hadith we read in that chapter is the tafsir of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma regarding that statement of Allah in the Quran in Surah Al-Anfal, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَصْلِحُوا ذَاتَ بَيْنِكُمْ. He said radiyallahu anhuma, هذا تحريج من الله على المؤمنين أن يتقوا الله وأن يصلحوا ذات بينهم. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma said, هذا تحريج من الله على المؤمنين. This is a statement of restriction and insistence. It insists to say as if we don't have a choice. The only choice Muslims have is أن يتقوا الله. They should fear Allah in all their deeds. وأن يصلحوا ذات بينهم. And the only thing that comes after that is look for means of reconciling your relationship with your brothers. If your relationship is sound, improve it. If the relationship is bad, rectify it. This is the meaning of Islahu Zatil Bay. And in the first hadith we read, Prophet said alayhi salatu wasalam, that ألا أنبئكم بدرجة أفضل من الصلاة والصيام والصدقة. Should I not tell you about a rank better than the rank of observing Nawafil, observing Sawm Dawud, and giving a lot of charity? Should I not tell you something better than that? Qalu bala. He said, tell us, O Messenger of Allah. And then he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Salatu Zatil Bay. A rank before Allah that surpasses the rank of observing a lot of nawafil, observing a lot of supererogatory fasting, and giving a lot of sadaqah is Salatu Zatil Bay. Rectifying and maintaining ties with ourselves, between a man and his wife, between a man and his friend, between a man and his neighbor, the father and the child and his brothers and sisters, and so on. Then he said, alayhi salatu wassalam, وَفَصَادِ ذَاتِ الْبَيْنِ هِيَ الْحَالِقَةِ. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, that فَصَادِ ذَاتِ الْبَيْنِ, destroying and causing causing disaffection amongst the people. هي الحالقة. That is the destruction. And in the report of Al-Imām Tirmidhi rahimahullah, the Prophet said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لا أقول تحلق الشعر. I'm not saying that it will remove the hairs, it will shave off the hairs from the head. ولكن تحلق الدين. What I rather refer to is that it will destroy the deen of the people. Yesterday we gave an example of two brothers who have loved themselves for the sake of Allah, and then they set up a learning class, a halqa as we call it. They begin to teach in the class. One shaitan amongst human beings or amongst the jinns come to cause a disaffection between the two of them. And then at the end of the day, that teaching gathering has to stop. You will see that it will affect the religion of all those people who benefit from those teachings. The same way we find today on the internet, on social media, young people destroy the relationship between learned people by conveying bad information and negative news from one party to the other, whether such news may be true or such news may be bad. The intention is to cause disaffection amongst the people. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, فَصَادُ ذَاتِ الدَّيْنِ هِيَ الْحَالِقَةِ. Destroying the ties amongst the people. It is destruction in itself. And it is the destruction of the religion of the people. Today, inshallah, we'll be looking at another chapter that has to do with our dealings with the rest of the people we relate with, whether our brothers or our sisters or our wives or our children or our neighbors or our teachers and the rest of the people that we deal with. In this chapter, Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri said, rahimahullah, Bābun إِذَا كَذَبْتَ لِرَجُلٍ وَهُوَ لَكَ مُصَدِّقٌ. إِذَا كَذَبْتَ لِرَجُلٍ وَهُوَ لَكَ مُصَدِّقٌ. The chapter about when you would tell a lie to a man. وَهُوَ لَكَ مُصَدِّقٌ. And why you tell him that lie? He was believing you. He was accepting what you are saying. Why should a Muslim do this to his brother? Why should a brother do this to his neighbor? Why should a learned person do this to another learned person? إِذَا كَذَبْتَ لِرَجُلٍ وَهُوَ لَكَ مُصَدِّقٌ. When you tell a lie to a person, and then that person, at the time you tell him those lies, he was believing you and accepting what you say. What is it that has been said about this in the Sunnah of the Messenger alayhi salam? That occurs under Hadith 393 in this book, Al-Adab Al-Mufrad, by Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah. He said in it rahimahullah, حدثنا حيوى بن شريح قال حدثنا بقية عن سبارة بن مالك الحضرمي عن عبد الرحمن بن جبير بن نفير أن أباه حدثه أن سفيان بن حسين الحضرمي حدثه أنه سمع النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يقول كبرت خيانة أن تحدث أخاك حديثا وهو لك مصدق وأنت له كاذب. Messenger said عليه الصلاة والسلام, كبرت خيانة أن تحدث أخاك تحدثه حديثا هو لك مصدق وأنت له وأنت له كاذب. Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah reports this hadith from his Shaykh Haywa ibn Shurayh. Haywa ibn Shurayh rahimahullah was very learned from the scholars of Islam. His kunya was Abu al-Abbas, and he was Abu al-Abbas al-Himsi rahimahullah, from the teachers of Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri. When Al-Imām Al-Zahabi spoke about Haywa ibn Shurayh, he called him, he says, Al-Imām Al-Mutqin Al-Muhaddith. He says, Al-Imām Al-Mutqin. He was an Imam. He was a person to be followed upon the path of knowledge. He was Mutqin, one who perfects the aspects of the knowledge that he has acquired. وَكَانَ مِنْ أَوْعِيَةِ الْعِلْمِ, and he was from amongst those who bore knowledge. He was from amongst the dearest of knowledge, rahimahullah. And others amongst the scholars say, when we hear Haywa ibn Shurayh mentioned as Al-Humsi, they say that Kana Imama Masjid Al-Hums. He was the Imam in the Masjid at Al-Hums. Hums is in present-day Syria. At that time, it was a big city of Islam, Homs. And from among those who led the people, in fact, Haywa ibn Shurayh used to teach the Quran in that masjid. These are the teachers of Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah. He is reporting from another very learned person in Islam, Baqiyya. Al-Imām Baqiyya ibn al-Walid. He is also Humsi. Baqiyya ibn al-Walid. He is also Humsi. Baqiyya ibn al-Walid, the scholars are not differed about his being a well-grounded, trustworthy scholar of Islam. The issue with his reports is when he says "an," because he does what they refer to as at-Tibyān. So he is Baqiyya ibn al-Walid, and these are part of the problems with this isnad. This hadith, the ulama, Al-Imām Al-Albani mentioned rahimahullah that it is weak. Others too mentioned that it is weak, and our Shaykh Samir ibn Amir al-Zuhairi also affirmed that the hadith is weak. Why? One of the reasons for its weakness is that Baqiyya ibn al-Walid al-Hirsi is also reporting this hadith with an expression the scholars refer to as an. He said an in that report. Why do they say so? When Baqiyya ibn al-Walid says an in a report, he conveys from any of his teachers. It is likely that in between himself and the teacher, he has a weak reporter. But when he says haddathana or akhbarana or sami'tu, his reports are reliable without a difference. So one of the problems, one of the effects in this isnad is this ana by Al-Imām Baqiyya ibn al-Walid. This goes to explain how very diligent the scholars of hadith have ever been. If you find a person who himself is a trustworthy, learned reporter of hadith, or he has a way that when he reports that hadith, the hadith becomes weak, they do not, because of that fault, throw away the rest of his goodness. They recognize his goodness for him. They also recognize his faults for him. This is against what we do in our own times. If we recognize the fault with a person, we throw away the child and the bathwater. This is also from the aspects of Abdul. We behave as if he has not any kind of a goodness with him. As for Baqiyya ibn al-Walid, he was a well-grounded scholar, but he has a way of reporting a hadith. All the scholars almost agree that when he reports a hadith like that, that hadith is weak. So they accept his report when he is not reporting like that, in that manner. And when he reports in that manner, they reject his narration. This is from the aspects of putting everything in their places. Here, Baqiyat ibn al-Walid al-Khamsi is reporting from his Shaykh, Subara ibn Malik al-Hadrami. Subara ibn Malik al-Hadrami, the ulama refer to him and say that he is majhul. Subara ibn Malik, he is majhul. This is the second defect this hadith has. The first defect that it has is the an of Baqiyat ibn al-Walid. The second defect that it has is the unknowing of the condition of Subara ibn Malik al-Hadra. This also goes to explain how diligent the scholars of hadith are in. If they know your name, they know your father's name, they know where you have come from, they know everything about you, but they don't know how trustworthy and how accurate you are in conveying narrations from the Prophet Muhammad. They will not accept your report. They must know and be sure that you are a reliable person. And ruling a person to be reliable is a long, very difficult job. It's a lot of a difficult job. So if that job, if it is not ascertained that this person is reliable, they never accept his reports. The best of what has been said about Subara ibn Malik is that yuktabu hadithu. His narrations can be documented. Al-Imām Ad-Daraqutni say yuktabu bihi. His narrations will be documented. We'll be looking for somebody else who has reported the hadith like him. If we find, and that person is reliable, then we accept his own reports. If we don't find, then we leave aside the reports and say, we don't know this man, we don't know how reliable he is in his religion. We don't know how reliable he is in conveying narrations. But as for Subara ibn Malik, we know him, we know his religion, but we are not sure whether he can accurately convey the narrations from the Prophet Muhammad. This question sign makes us leave aside his hadith until we can find a report that affirms that is a reliable reporter of hadith. You can see how diligent this science is. But the nearest doubt regarding the ability of an individual to convey reports accurately, reports are set aside. May Allah reward the scholars of hadith, because this has helped to preserve the Sunnah of Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam. This also makes us understand that when we hear them say hadith sahih, this hadith is sahih, they have done a lot of work to be able to confirm that this statement has come from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and it is part of our religion. Subara ibn Malik, who is ruled to be majhul, he is reporting from Abdur-Raūf ibn Jubayr ibn Nufayl. Abdur-Rahman ibn Jubayr ibn Nufayl is the son of an eminent Tabi'i, Jubayr ibn Nufayl. Unfortunately, this report is from his father, Jubayr ibn Nufayl. Jubayr ibn Nufayl was amongst the Muhadramun. We know the Muhadramun. The Muhadramun are those who were alive during the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They also accepted Islam during the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, but they never saw or met the Prophet face to face. These people are not from Ashabu Rasulillah alayhi salatu wasalam. They are not ruled from the companions. They are called a special name, Muhadramun. They are called Muhadramun. But in the end of it, they are also from amongst the Tabi'in. No matter how old a Muhadram is, if he reports a hadith from Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. The hadith will be published, mursal, to be a report that has a broken chain. Look at how diligent this ummah is in verifying reports. If a person lived in the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he did not meet the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but he lived in that time, and he had accepted Islam at that time and perfected his Islam. And yet he says, Qala Rasulullah alayhi salam. He does not have the same ruling as that person who met the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And all these people and the conditions are known. Those who met the Prophet are known. Those who did not meet the Prophet are known. They are well documented in the history books of Islam. You can see the favor of Allah upon this book. Jubayr ibn al-Nufayr is Mukhadra, Abu Abdur-Raūf al-Khadra. And he is reporting from Sufyan ibn Usayd. Jubayr ibn al-Nufayr is reporting from Sufyan ibn Usayd. Sufyan ibn Usayd is a Sahabi of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. He is the one who said that the Prophet said, Annahu is the one, Sufyan ibn Usayd is the one who said, Annahu sami'a al-Nabiyya sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam yaqul. Is the one who said, I heard the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam saying that, Kaburat khiyanatan, yani azimat khiyanatan. It is so big a treachery. It is so big a betrayal. It is a big betrayal. أن تحدث أخاك حديثا هو لك مصدق. أن تحدث أخاك حديثا هو لك مصدق. It's a big betrayal. أن تحدث أخاك حديثا. That you should give a report, you narrate something, you say something to your brother. هو لك مصدق وأنت له كاذب. هو لك مصدق. As you tell him, as you narrate the stories to him, as you convey the information to him, هو لك مصدق. He was accepting what you were saying. He was believing what you were saying. He was affirming in his mind what you are saying, that you are telling him the truth. When the actual fact is that, وَأَنْتَ لَهُ كَاذِبٌ. You were actually telling him lies. It is reported that the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Kaburat khiyanatan. This is so big a betrayal. Big betrayal. The ulama say the betrayal will come from two angles. The first angle is that لِأَنَّهُ إِئْتَمَنَكَ فِي مَا تُحَدِّثُهُ بِهِ. Because he had trusted you فِي مَا تُحَدِّثُهُ بِهِ. In what you are narrating. I trusted you. He gave you a trust. He trusted what you tell him. فَإِذَا كَذَبْتَ فَقَدْ خُنْتَ أَمَانَتَهُ. When you begin to tell him lies, and he has given you a trust that you will not lie to him, when you now begin to lie, خُنْتَ أَمَانَتَهُ, you have betrayed his amana. You have betrayed his trust. وَخُنْتَ أَمَانَةَ الْإِيمَانِ. The second betrayal is amanatul iman, that you have betrayed. خُنْتَ أَمَانَةَ الْإِيمَانِ. You have betrayed the trust of Iman. What is the trust of Iman? فِيمَا أَوْجَبَ مِنْ نَصِيحَةِ الْإِخْوَانِ. Iman has compelled you. Iman has instructed you, made it compulsory for you to ever say what is right to your brother. So your betrayal comes from two angles. He trusted you. The second one is he betrayed you. The first one is he trusted you. You betrayed him. The second one is Iman itself compels you to tell your brother the truth. You betrayed Iman there. You betrayed your brother. You betrayed the iman that connects the two of you. So that's why it is reported that the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, kaburat khiyanatan. It is so big a betrayal. أن تحدث أخاك حديثا هو لك مصدق وأنت له كاذب. That hey, you narrate to him an incident, you tell him something about something. He was believing you. وأنت له كاذب. While at that time, you were only lying to him. I would remember that these betrayals are from the aspects of the ways of the people of Nifaq. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, regarding Munafiqun, he said, إِذَا أَتُمِنَ خَانَ. When he is giving a trust, he would betray the trust. So your brother trusted you that you would not lie to him, but you betrayed the trust. So that's why it is reported that kaburat khiyanatan. It is big a betrayal that you do that kind of a thing. You narrate something to your brother, he will be believing you. وَأَنْتَ لَهُ كَاذِبٌ. When you actually are telling him what is just mere falsehood. This hadith has a weak chain, and we will notice that the weakness are slight. Even though it renders the hadith weak, we know that the message in the hadith is correct. And from the ways we know it is from the explanation of the hadith itself. The khiyana, betrayal, comes from two angles. The first one is that as an individual, he has trusted you as a person. The second one is that Iman itself compels you to tell your brother the truth. So you betray it from these two angles. And we know that these kinds of betrayals are the symbols of the people of Nifaq. And Nifaq is big. So that betrayal is big. So even though this hadith is weak, its meaning is correct, confirmed from other teachings and other texts from the text of the Quran and the Sunnah. It is reported that the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, كبرت خيانة أن تحدث أخاك حديثا هو لك مصدق وأنت له كاذب. And because we are discussing Zatul Bayn, the ties amongst people, if you have a friend who loves you for the sake of Allah and all of that, and then you begin to tell him a lie, and he is believing you, while it is a lie, it is a betrayal. We understand that this will cause disaffection between the two of you. And this is why I like to warn people who sell things online these days, whether women or men, especially the women. Fear Allah and never tell people except the truth. Don't lie about the product that you sell. A lot of people have complained about their experiences. People lie in trade. It is part of this narration. Because that time you are telling that brother, or you are telling that man you are selling to, or you are telling your sister you are selling to, oh, this product, he can do this, he can do this, he can do this. He will be believing you. He has trusted you. وَأَنْتَ لَهَا كَاذِبًا. Meanwhile, you are just telling her lies. So it will be argument, khiyanatan. It will be big betrayal. Somebody sees you as a person of Islam, you are wearing jilbab, you are wearing niqab, you have a beard, you invite them to a business, contribute money to a business. They believe you, they accept you. But you knew from your mind at the time you are telling them to bring their money, you knew that you are telling them lies. This is big betrayal. The woman mentioned recently that she'd worked for about 12 years. Everything she had gathered, everything she had saved, she invested in the business. And in less than 6-7 months, they went back to tell her that the business had failed. He didn't know how to cry. Many of the people have been so deceived. And most times it will be from people that they have trusted. Don't betray the trust of your brother. Because when you begin to betray trust that has been placed on your hands, you are just showing the symbols of being a munafiq, the symbols of nifaq. I beg Allah to protect all of us from nifaq. Don't tell a lie. Don't lie to people. Don't justify a lie. The circumstances where Islam has allowed us to say something other than the truth, we know them, they are three. When you reconcile between two feuding parties, you are allowed to say something that is not true. And we explain there, the ulama say, Al-Kadhibu Ja'izu, wa Tawriyatu Afdal. It is allowed for you to say something that is not true. Wa Tawriyatu Afdal. But say something that is not, that can be conceived to mean something when you don't actually mean it. It's better than saying something that is not true. The same thing, Hadithu Ar-Rajuli Ahlahu. A man talking to his wife. We know that we can say something that's not expressly true in this circumstance. So these are the circumstances then in the cases of war. We have given these exceptions and we have explained. If not, it is not appropriate for a Muslim to tell a lie at all. But from the worst lies you can tell is that you narrate an incident to your brothers. They were believing you and accepting what you say. وَأَنْتَ لَهُمْ كَاذِبٌ. I think that this hadith is clear. We can move to the next hadith. Hadith 394. That occurs under another chapter heading. Babun la ta'id akhaka shay'an fatukhlifu. La ta'id akhaka shay'an fatukhlifahu. Don't promise your brother something, assuring him, affirming it to him. Fatukhlifahu. And then you come back. And then you betray him. You do not fulfill the promise to your brother. This one also happens a lot. Ulama say the worst of it is, you knew when you were promising him that you will not give it to him. And yet you were promising him. You will see that it stems from this last discussion. When you were promising and affirming, Huwa laka musaddikun, he will be affirming and accepting that you can't lie to him. وَأَنْتَ كُنْتَ لَهُ كَاذِبًا. You were at that time you were telling him lies. He was accepting that you have promised. The Imam Al-Nawawi said if you make that promise and you are really genuine in your promise, say inshallah. Make your brother understand that well. It is still within if Allah makes it possible. But if it is a promise you really want to fulfill, and you make him believe, don't worry, it is there, and you have the abilities and you don't fulfill it, this is something that is bad. It is also from the symbols of nifaq. إِذَا وَعَدَ أَخْلَفَ. When the munafiq promises, he will fail the promise. Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri rahimahullah has mentioned this under Hadith 394. He said رحمه الله حدثنا عبد بن سعيد قال حدثنا عبد-الرحمن بن محمد المحاربي عن ليث عن عبد الملك عن إكرمة عن ابن عباس قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم لا تماري أخاك ولا تمازحه وَلَا تَعِدْهُ مَوْعِدًا فَتُخْلِفَهُ. This hadith occurs as hadith 394 in our book Al-Adab Al-Mufrad by Al-Imām Muhammad ibn Ismā'īl Al-Bukhāri Abu Abdullah. He said, حدثنا Abdullah ibn Sa'id. He reports this hadith from his Shaykh Abdullah ibn Sa'id, who said, حدثنا Abdur-Rahman ibn Muhammad al-Muharibi Abdur-Rahman ibn Muhammad al-Bukhari, the Shaykh of Al-Imām Al-Bukhari, his kunya is Abu Muhammad. And he is reporting from a well-known reporter of Hadith, Layth ibn Abi Sulaym. Layth ibn Abi Sulaym is well-known, rahimahullah, the well-known scholar of Hadith, but is a weak reporter of Hadith. Layth ibn Abi Sulaym. Almost all the scholars are agreed that his reports are weak, and he has reported a lot of hadith. He was a muqsir, but very good hadith. Layth ibn Abi Sulaym. Because of my brothers who get busy with the science of hadith, Abu Sulaym, his name is Ayman. Layth ibn Ayman is his real name. Layth ibn Ayman. Many of our brothers, we know him as Layth ibn Abi Sulaym. But this Abu Sulaym, the father of Layth, his name is what? His name is Ayman. So he is Layth ibn Ayman, rahimahullah al-Kufi. He was a well-known scholar of hadith. His kunya was Abu Bakr. So he is Abu Bakr, Layth ibn Ayman al-Kufi, rahimahullah. He is reporting from Abdul Malik. He is Abdul Malik ibn Abi Bashir. Abdul Malik, the Shaykh of Layth in this isnad. He is Abdul Malik ibn Abi Bashir. We're talking about Layth and saying that he is a weak reporter of hadith, despite his being well known and popular amongst the scholars of hadith. That makes us understand that we're already saying that this hadith, the isnad, is weak. Fortunately, alayhi madawi asanid. This hadith, every person who has reported this hadith, because also Al-Imām At-Tirmidhi reports this hadith. But all those asanid end up with Layth ibn Abi Sulaym. So the hadith is weak in its isnad. So his own Shaykh Abdul Malik is reporting from Ikrīmah. That is Al-Imām Ikrīmah Abu Abdullah al-Barbari, one of the biggest scholars amongst the Tabi'un, and one of the nearest students to Abdullah ibn Abbas. Ikrīmah al-Barbari, rahimahullah, is reporting from his Shaykh Abdullah ibn Abbas, who said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, said the Prophet said عليه الصلاة والسلام, لا تجادل, لا تماري أخاك, لا تماري. Don't become argumentative with your brothers. There are some brothers, their job is argument. Go to social media, you understand me better. Even in a matter, the scholars would almost say there is ijma. You find a young person wanting to argue it. We're in a generation of argument now. In the name of my take, my view, my opinion, my. Have we forgotten that there are issues in Islam that the scholars have agreed upon that it is prohibited to argue about? Prohibited. When you set up an argument about it, you are committing a sin. Yet in our own times, our own younger brothers want to argue about everything. This report says, La tumari akhak. Don't be a person who goes into heated argument with your brother. All the time, argument. He never lets anything go. And from the evils of argument is that it is usually born out of a decision to overwhelm your listeners. You want to be the one that controls the sitting. So what people say would not matter. Their impressions will not matter. All that matters are those your own views, those your own takes. Go and see those people they refer to as social media influencers. That is their job. They want to compel others to take their own. A Muslim should not be like this, because it will destroy the ties between yourself and your brother. So this narration says that the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, La tumari akhak. don't go on making jidal and khusuma with your brother. وَلَا تُمَازِحْهُ. Don't go on making a jest of him. This is another thing that is common. In fact, recently a brother posted something on his status, and it mentions these two things. They were arguing about a matter of fiqh, and it's a matter that affects difference. It's a matter because there are issues in the opposite of what I have said. There are issues the ulama are agreed upon. When you argue about them, you are committing this. There are issues that they have opened the views. This view, some of the scholars have that. This view, some of the scholars have that. If you are a scholar who is able to discern, to say it appears that this one is stronger, you will learn to get to that stage new. And one of the things you will know whether you have reached that stage or not, your teacher, who is also a learned person, will tell you that you have reached that stage. Many of our younger brothers now want to assume this position without having verified, yes, you can do that now. So arguments go on. This brother was in a discussion with another brother. And what followed it was, the second brother was abusing him, he was abusing someone. The other one said, this matter is a matter about the people can view differently. The other one abused him and said, that is, an ignorant person following another ignorant person. La tumari akhak, wa la tumazihtu. Don't go into heated arguments unnecessarily. These are unnecessary arguments with your brothers. Wala tumazihtu. Don't become a person who make a jest of your brothers. And then it says, Wala ta'idhu maw'idan fatukhlifahu. Don't give him a promise. La ta'idhu maw'idan. Don't give him a promise. Fatukhlifahu. And then you fail to fulfill the promise. If you promise your brother, inshallah, I will do this to you, try as much as possible to do it. Unless you become incapable. As long as you are capable, if you promise your brother, try to fulfill. And it is a point of reference in this hadith. Because Al-Imām Al-Bukhāri brought it under the same chapter. Bābun lā ta'id akhāka shay'an fatukhlifahu. It's a point of reference in hadith. If you promise your brother, fulfill his promise. If you promise the brother, I will, as small as I will see you tomorrow, try to see him. And always place inshallah there. Usually refer to the verse in Al-Kahf. وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلٌ ذَلِكَ غَدًا. Don't ever look at this affirmation. Don't ever be a person who, when you are saying, I will do that tomorrow, I will do that tomorrow, illa inshallah. Except I said inshallah. So add inshallah to it. But inshallah of two forms. Al-Imām An-Nawawi rahimahullah explains it in his sharh of Sahih Muslim Al-Minhaj. He said when you say inshallah, sometimes it will be a takhyir, because you are saying it is possible, you know it will be possible. Sometimes it could be a tawqid. You are affirming that it will be. Like the kind of inshallah that Ismā'īl told to his father Ibrāhīm. When he said, Satajiduni inshallah min as-sadiq. He was rather affirming to his brother that, to his father that, I will never waver. Allah said you should slaughter me. I'm ready. Alayhi salatu wassalam. So inshallah could be affirmative. When you use it in affirmative, fulfill that promise. When you use it in possibility, try to fulfill the promise. If you become known with promising and failing, it shows that you have some sort of nifaq with you. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, when he mentioned the attributes of munafiqun, said, إِذَا وَعَدَ أَخْلَفَ when he promises, he stays. Munafiq, when he promises, he will fail the promise. Don't be a person who is known when he starts promising. And this is where politicians must be careful. If you promise the people, don't tell them lies. When you tell them lies, the angels Allah has placed with you are documenting them. It will be brought before you on the day of Qiyamah that you have given promises and you have failed. Fortunately, Allah knew your mind when you are giving the promise. So your mind, what you had in it, and what your mouth were saying, the two of them will be brought out to be conflicting on the day of Qiyamah. So your hypocrisy will be shown into your face, and in the face of those you were deceiving. Don't say to people what you will not do to them. Fear Allah, and fear the day that you shall meet Him. The Prophet said, as it is reported in this hadith, alayhi salatu wassalam, وَلَا تَعِدْهُ مَوْعِدًا فَتُخْلِفَهُ. Don't promise your brother something, and then you fail. We said that this hadith is from the hadith of Layth ibn Abi Sulaym. We accepted to be a weak report of hadith, but the meaning of this hadith is acceptable, is correct, as we have confirmed from other texts from the Quran and from the Sunnah. I think it will suffice for us to stop here to take questions today, Abu Amir. Abu Amir.
نعم شيخنا أحسن الله إليك.
Amin. Welcome.
Now, the first question here is, someone's asking if the name is Sabaro or Bokbaro in Hadith.
In the first Hadith 93, he is Dubar. He is Dubar. I have the print of Maktabatul Huda al-Muhammadi. He is Dubar. I also have the print with the Tahqiq of Shaykh Abdullah ibn Abdur-Rahman al-Sa'd, the well-known scholar of Hadith, here with me. And his verification is also Dubar. He also said Dubar. And he's a well-known scholar of Hadith. If you go to the other books of Hadith, like Hadith al-Kamal, where the names of the reporters have been mentioned, I think you can confirm. In these two copies that I have here with me now, the copy of Shaykh Abdullah ibn Abdur-Rahman al-Sa'd, and the copy of the print of Daru Maktabatul Huda al-Muhammadi, it is Dubara ibn Malik and not Bobara. Allahu A'lam. I mean,
in the case of acceptability of a man telling a lie to his wife, can a woman also tell a lie to her husband?
Yes, the Prophet said to alayhi salatu wasalam, Hadithul mar'ati zawjaha. Hadithul mar'ati zawjaha. It's allowed. We read that specifically here when we discuss the things, conditions where people may say things that are not true. It was mentioned clearly. Hadithul mar'ati zawjaha. That is Hadith 385. You can go back to it. A woman can say to her husband, I love you, my husband. You're a good man. How this, that. And the man may not be as good as the wife is saying to him. It's acceptable. It's acceptable. It's acceptable. He may do something to her, a good thing. She was happy. And then she describes the happiness bigger than she was. Maybe, let me use this example. She wanted a phone. You bought her Infinix. She was expecting iPhone. You know women now. If you say Infinix, they say iPhone. Or Samsung, something. They start giving you, because they know all the phones. Women now have, they know. So if you buy her Infinix, she begins to think, in fact, I even like that Infinix more than iPhone. It is not true that Infinix is better than iPhone. It is not also true that someone will like Infinix more than iPhone or Samsung S23. But she's saying that to her husband just to have him pleased and settled, showing her appreciation for the Infinix itself. Why she's not saying something we can say is true, such statements are allowed in Islam. I hope that it is clear. Wow. I mean,
this one reads, who is the best person to give the hand of a sister whose father is dead in marriage? She has a mother, some paternal uncles, and some step-elder brothers from different acre of father.
The uncles should come. The uncles should come. If she has brothers, the brothers can come before the uncles. But these things are usually family matters. So don't settle it just upon the ruling. Sit down with the uncles. Sit down with the relatives and take a family decision. But I think I must say this. Maternal uncles are not involved. Maternal uncles, give away. Please, give away. Don't come and cause problem. Maternal uncles, when a girl wants to get married, maternal uncles, please give away. Those who will hand over the girl to a husband who have that right are paternal uncles. Please, let's note this point. Yes, they will come, they will contribute, they will celebrate, but they should know their limits for the sake of Allah. Maternal uncles, know your limits. You cannot contest with these days you even have maternal uncles contesting with the father of a child. It's really unfortunate. It's going beyond limits. It's extremism. Those people should be told to their faces. It's extremism. Maternal relatives contesting a daughter with the father. It's extremism. It is bad. May Allah protect us. As for the paternal relatives, the brothers, the uncles, paternal, they should sit down and appoint a person to hand over that girl in marriage. I hope it is clear, inshallah. I mean, can we have it to do it here, Abu Amir?
No,
Please let's talk here. I'll continue in the next class, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Amin wa iyyakum.